Welcome back to another NFL segment. Today we're going to be going over NFL free agency and discussing the winners and losers of free agency so far. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out our website at brownsportsreport.com, where we're going to be keeping you up to date on NFL free agency at the end of every week. Friday, we just put out our first edition, and next Friday we'll do the same and the same until the regular season starts. But like I said, today we're going to be going over the winners and losers of free agency so far and discuss, just why they are winners or losers. So as my number one winner so far in this free agency period so far, I would have to say the Chicago Bears. What the Chicago Bears did by leveraging that number one pick and getting what they got back for it, I think they got a great haul for it, getting 2 firsts, still remaining in the top 10, while also getting a number one wide receiver in DJ Moore. And now you can see they're starting to adequately build talent around Justin Fields and giving him just what he needs to improve and be better as a quarterback. Now for my second winner, it may be a surprise, but I got the Bengals. Although they lost Jesse Bates to the Falcons, I think picking up Orlando Brown Jr., who just won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs protecting Patrick Mahomes, and what they did against that Eagles defensive line, I think picking him up for relatively cheaper than what I expected him to be offered, I think that was a great pickup. Protect Joe Burrow's blind side, and I think that could pay heavy dividends down the stretch on protecting Joe Burrow and improving his team. Third, as to what may be a surprise to many, my third winner is the Denver Broncos. Now, the Denver Broncos, you can say that they spent a ton of money so far to start off free agency. And, you're probably right. But I think the way they're doing it and just the amount of players they're getting, I think you can start to see that, with adding Sean Payton as your head coach, and now you're starting to build a team that best suits Russell Wilson. And I think with Sean Payton and what he's doing, I think he's doing his best to, mitigate what Russell Wilson has to do, not rely on Russ to cook as much as you would like. Next, I got the Jags. What Jacksonville did by franchise tagging Evan Ingram, I think that was a great move. Picking up Evan Ingram last offseason was a great move, you can obviously see what he's done for the development and improvement of Trevor Lawrence. Just alone compared to last year to this year, Trevor Lawrence, after Evan Ingram has been on the team, he's doubled his touchdowns and he's cut his interceptions in half, which is huge. What Evan Ingram does for Trevor Lawrence, giving him a solid, safety route, giving him a solid safety valve, right at the tight end position, I think that'll be great for him and moving forward on what he needs. And you can also see with all the signings that they acquired, it's very clear, they're beefing up their secondary and they're doing a lot to beef up their defense. Next, I got the Chiefs. Now, although the Chiefs did lose Orlando Brown Jr. to an AFC rival in the Bengals, I think what they did by, getting linebacker Drew Tranquill and getting a solid edge rusher in Charles Omenihu, those two moves, and also the development of their very young rookie core with all their rookie players and them coming back this year, that helps them not have to go out in free agency and spend big when they already got a solid young core who can do everything they need. And in spite of losing Orlando Brown Jr., they did pick up Jawan Taylor from the Jaguars, who, from what I've seen, I'm not an offensive line specialist. I did watch some film breakdowns and, hear what other people have to say about him. And it seems like he's a very solid tackle and he's one of the better tackles in the league. Next, we got the Dolphins. Now, obviously, what the Dolphins did by going up and picking up Jalen Ramsey for pretty much really, really cheap. I think it was a 3rd round pick and like a tight end who didn't even play like that. Adding Jalen Ramsey to that secondary and that defense. Now also with all the moves they're making by, beefing up their entire team, they're doing everything to, put everything around Tua and basically saying, Tua, this is yours. We're giving you the keys. We're building everything around you. Now you just got to stay healthy and do what we trust you to do. And I think that's great, putting trust in Tua and building the team around him. And I think that gives him much more confidence, and I think that'll better his play as we go further in his career. Lastly, for our big winners this year, I'll go on the limb and say the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. The reason why I say the Commanders is going up and signing an offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy. And, some people, feel like Eric Bieniemy, he's under Andy Reid, he doesn't do much, he doesn't do anything. Even if that is your opinion on Eric Bieniemy, I think just being under Andy Reid, an offensive mind like that for so long and winning those 2 Super Bowls, coaching a guy like Patrick Mahomes, that brings a great standard, that brings great leadership, and creates a standard from what he expects out of his players. And you can see it in his interview when he first got the job. I think when you bring a standard to certain people and you show what your standard is, they feel obligated as your players to meet that standard. And I think that'll help the Commanders tremendously going forward. Now, starting off with our losers, I think our big losers this year is the Panthers. The reason why I say the Panthers is because what they did to get that number 1 overall pick this year, where we're expecting you to take a quarterback, but you gave away your number 1 receiver that quarterback would greatly need in his young development. So, a lot of question marks there. But also, it's being reported that the Panthers don't even fully know who they want at the number 1 pick. And it seems like they just wanted that number 1 pick to have the leverage of having that number 1 pick. But when you make it clear that you don't know who you want to draft with the number 1 pick, and I don't think it's not looking good in Carolina for the future right now. Now, for my second big loser, it isn't a team, it's a player. And I think one of the bigger losers this year is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, he betted on himself, he tested the market, he got non-exclusively tagged, and the Ravens said, go out and see what you can get. And as a surprise to a lot of people, even me, no interest. A lot of teams publicly came out and said, we are not pursuing Lamar, we are not interested in Lamar. And whether you think, collusion or whatnot, regardless of what you think on that, whether it's true or not, it's not good for Lamar, because you can obviously see that he's not getting the contract he needs or he feels he wants, and he's not getting his long-term money, and he's stuck with a non-exclusive tag, so he has to make that decision. I'm not going to play on it, which I doubt he's going to play on it, but that's still going to hurt him down the stretch, because you want to hurry up and get your money as young as you can and as fast as you can, and prolonging the situation is not as good for Lamar. Moving on to the Jets. Reason why I think the Jets are some of the biggest losers is because we're already, I would say, about a week into free agency, and they haven't made any crazy signings. They've picked up Allen Lazard and they picked up a couple more players, but we all can tell that that's to please Aaron Rodgers and to try and tell Aaron Rodgers, we're doing whatever you want, just come to our team. And I think doing that, waiting so long on Aaron, waiting so long on the Packers to make that offer and give you Aaron, I think is very detrimental, because let's say on the off chance you don't get Aaron Rodgers, then you're behind 2 bases by the whole league, because you haven't even started to fill out your roster, and we don't even know who your quarterback is, because I doubt Zach Wilson is going to be the starting quarterback after how he's played last year, the backlash he's gotten in New York, and how bad of a reception he got from his own teammates. So I think waiting this long on Aaron Rodgers and not doing your due diligence and to at least seek out other options, like a Lamar Jackson, some other quarterbacks, I think that hurts you. But lastly, on our losers list of this offseason so far, I got the Dallas Cowboys. The reason why I got the Cowboys is because, first, you couldn't capitalize on your last couple of years. The clock is really starting to tick because, Mike McCarthy is on the hot seat. Dak Prescott is on the hot seat. Also, the biggest thing to me is that Trayvon Diggs is going to start asking for his money. Micah Parsons is going to start asking for his money. CeeDee Lamb is going to start asking for his money. Tony Pollard, if he can come back healthy and, still be productive, he's going to start asking for his money. With all this coming up, with your players needing to be paid, with your players, not winning anything, as time goes on, it's going to start, looking a lot harder and harder to, capitalize on what you need to do. But that's really all I got for this one. Once again, don't forget to check out our website at brownsportsreport.com for free agency updates on the NFL and other sports as well. But don't forget to check out our page for even more content and subscribe and stay tuned for more to come.